All right, what's good, guys? This is gonna be, I guess, day 4 of working on the tube rear. We really haven't touched it much over the last 2 weeks, but Paulie and I are gonna put some time in tonight to get as far as we can. But first, I just finished up work at the office and I'm driving up to the warehouse, Turn 14 Distribution, to pick up the rest of my Vibrant fuel line fittings. It's gonna be the last of the fittings that I need to basically plumb the fuel system. And I also have a inline fuel filter that came in, a pre-filter for the pump that came in as well. So I'm gonna swing by the warehouse, pick up the fittings at the warehouse. The filter's actually at home, so I'm gonna have to stop and grab that before heading to Paulie's. Then we're gonna go to Paulie's and get to work on this thing. All right, we're gonna cruise on in here. Turn 14, the Holy Land, the big Holy Land of automotive parts. So we got parts, 2 boxes, I think like 2 fittings each, but I'm gonna swing home now and grab the rest of the stuff that I need. Gonna have to grab some dinner too, forgot about that. Sometimes when I have these nights of working on the car where I have to go somewhere, I tend to forget to eat, and I'm gonna make sure I don't forget to do that tonight. You know what's great? I think spring might actually finally be here. Daylight savings is also the best. It's 4 minutes to 7 right now, and it is beautiful out right now. Oh, look who that is. There he is. All right, so I just picked up, these are the new Vibrant fittings that I got. I just realized that I ordered the wrong fitting. So my return line, I got a -10 to -6 reducer. And I just remembered, now that I'm seeing it, that the return line is actually a -8. So I need to return this and order a -8 to -6 reducer. That way I can use the push on and all that stuff. But I also have the AN line ends, the -10 ends for the pump. And I should be in good shape. All right, so I totally screwed up. I ordered all the wrong stuff, so tomorrow I'm gonna have to set up a return, and then I'll place an order in the morning for the right stuff. Thankfully, I mean, this isn't going anywhere tonight anyways, but I have one fitting is the proper fitting that I needed. I can at least kind of mock it up with this because I know where it has to go. I also have this inline filter, put the wrong size fittings onto it. So what I'm gonna do right now is work on the battery and the fuel pump. I ordered a bracket just like this for the filter. The filter is gonna sit right here next to it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna drill the holes for this and at least get this position, and I'll hook up the -6 AN feed line so that at least that part will be done. And then Paulie's gonna work on doing some more welding up in here. And I can figure out how long of a piece of return line that I need. And I'll also try and do the ground wires while I'm here. Battery's in. The ground is gonna go right there. Pump's there. All right, pulled the power wire from inside the car. This is the power wire that came through the car and went to the stock fuel pump. All right, guys, it's the next day and it is beautiful. I have the sunroof open. I have my new package with the proper fittings in there from Turn 14, Vibrant stuff. Returned the old stuff this morning as well. And I'm in the V, daily duty. No more daily driving the Suburban. That 8.1 liter was killing me in fuel. The weather is beautiful out today, so we are back daily driving the old Cadillac, and it is so much fun. I miss this car. So I'm gonna head to Paulie's house now, and we're gonna get started on finishing everything up tonight. All right, so we're here at Paulie's. My second day. He was working on it last night. Last night he welded in the crossbar that we're gonna do some tabs on to mount the fuel cell, and then he made these brackets over here that are gonna go over top of the fuel cell, basically to hold the fuel cell in the car. Inline filter with the bracket. The bracket came in yesterday, so I just laid it in place. The pump is all mounted still, but holes will have to be drilled for this right next to it. I got the right vibrant fittings this time around, the dash 8s. So it's gonna be a 90 coming off the tank into this 90 through the filter. Then we're gonna have a little jump over, a little crossover here into the pump. And then it'll feed the rest of the car. It'll step down at the end of the pump to a dash 6 from the dash 8 feed line that the cell has. And then I also got the dash 8 to dash 6 step down, and then the dash 6 to a press-on hose for the return line. And then this dash 10 line that I got by accident, I'm gonna use for the vent line. So we got all the parts we need. Now it's just about executing it. Battery cable will be here on Monday, so we'll get that hammered out. And the light at the end of the tunnel, man. Filter's mounted. Now it's time to make some AN lines and get the fuel system finished, I think. Right? Fuel system finished.
Once you make a loop and on the V, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
All right. Off wheel. I measure the AN line. This side's going to be the feed. And then we'll have to trim this side down to be the little loop. So I'm going to use a cutoff wheel to cut right here, made a mark. And then we'll create the other, we'll put the other 90-degree fitting on that side as well. I got this fitting. This is the AN line. It unscrews this way. So what you do is you unscrew these two pieces. This has a hole in the end, and you basically, I put tape on it so it doesn't push the fray, or so it doesn't fray the sleeve. And you put the fitting into the vise and then push the hose into the back side of the fitting. Then you leave the threaded side open and move it forward to here. And then I take the insert piece, put some grease on it. Last night I greased it. When I did the other line, I didn't grease it and it started twisting this inside of here. It wasn't working. So grease it up so it goes in smooth. And then you basically just start threading it. Once you push it in until it catches threads and start twisting it. I like to keep a little pressure on the backside here just so it doesn't push this line out, because it basically crimps the connection and makes it not, you know, separate. Take a wrench, use a line wrench or something that won't mess up your AN lines, but I'm just going to use an adjustable, and you crank it in like so. Make sure you keep pressure on the line itself. Slide this in. Hey. Pull it out.
Ooh, what was that?
You can peel the tape off. And you got an AN line. So I'm going to do the same for this side as well. Last night I went and I picked up these calipers. These are first gen VR4 calipers. They are a floating caliper single piston off the first gen VR4s. The second gen VR4s got these Brembo style Sumitomo two piston. Yeah, they're two piston calipers. So they're similar to like the Evos, but they're an upgraded caliper. So they run a bigger rotor, and I guess you could say they stop better. Who knows? They look a lot nicer than the floating calipers. They're actually pretty difficult to find. So I run the inline handbrake right now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You guys have seen, those of you that watch the drifting videos, you guys have seen that even in Florida, I was having issues with the handbrake. I had air in the lines. It's a pain to bleed. So I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and go, well, I don't think I am. I'm going to bite the bullet and go with a dual caliper setup on the back of the car. So we just looked back here, and you can kind of see back there. The caliper will slide over the rotor and come back in there. And we will have to, and when I say we, Paulie, is gonna cut out the backing plate for the parking brake, which I don't even have anymore. I gutted all those shoes and stuff, and weld tabs onto the trailing arm right here that the second caliper can mount up to. I will get some new brake lines, get a different master cylinder for the hydro, and run a full individual setup, dual caliper setup on the back of this car. And with the amount of weight that we took out of the back of the car and having a dual caliper setup that is dedicated to the handbrake, this thing is gonna lock the wheel. It better lock the wheels up pretty good. I mean,
Your calipers.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it worked before, not the best, but with a dual caliper setup and a lot less weight over the rear tires, it should definitely lock them up very easily, and that will ultimately make drifting easier, because there's been times where I need to pull the handbrake to, like, you know, adjust my angle and things like that, or to get more angle, and it wasn't there for me, and it ended up just screwing me up more. So having these will definitely help make life a little bit easier. When I edited up the videos from last night, I realized that my phone screwed up the files, and I will be I just kind of I'm jumping in right now to what I did today and going from there moving forward. So it'll just give you guys an idea where we ended up and all that stuff, but I'm annoyed that it didn't work out and my phone screwed up and the files got messed up, but at least you guys will get to see what I ended up doing today and kind of where I left off the other night. All right guys, so I'm back here in the garage, and the first thing I'm gonna knock out is making the ground wire. It's red, but whatever, it's obviously the ground. So I put the crimp connect end for the fuel pump on. That's gonna go right here. And then the other end I'm gonna have come underneath and then just go right to this mount bolt right here. So I'll secure it, make the end, and then I have another eyelet that I will be putting on with some shrink wrap tubing. Ground wire is done, insulator's on. It's just mocked up, kind of just hung here because all this stuff is gonna have to come back out anyways when I go ahead and paint everything. So moving forward, I'm gonna lower the car a little bit. As I have the cable, so I'm just gonna lay it up there. The cable has a 3/8 inch ends to it, and what I decided to do, instead of having to cut the ends off, I might just go back to an older style clamp on battery terminal for the positive side. That way I can keep these nice crimped ends and have it slide right over like that and bolt on, instead of having to worry about cutting it, stripping it, and using like the crimp style. So now I'm gonna see if this will fit on my battery, and if so, I'll tighten it down and it'll be ready to go for the positive cable. I might actually just start running the positive cable too while I'm at it. So here's the positive terminal. It's nice, it gives me a little voltage readout, but it uses the crimp style for the wires. So I'll be going to the old style, which we can use a little rubber mallet and gently hit that down onto. Is on. It's not tight, but no reason to tighten everything down just yet. And this is how it'll sit with the new battery cable, and the cable will probably just be zip tied to the or I'll just get a little piece to mount underneath the arm here, and it'll run through the firewall, through a grommet, and then up to the front of the car. So that looks good, clean. The ground wires are here. We should be in good shape. Somewhere in between, I will put this 200 amp circuit breaker probably on the inside of the car after it goes through the firewall. And then there will be a cutoff switch up at the front of the car as well. I just threw some vibrant loom, the split loom, around the wiring for the fuel pump, so that will be protected. It's just this stuff, the Flex split sleeve loom from Vibrant. I got some zip ties for when I paint everything. What's next? What's next? What's next? Next, that's all the stuff for the brakes. So I'm gonna move forward and start with some painting. Paulie still has to do some welding on the car, and I'm gonna leave those areas bare where he is gonna do the welding. So I wiped down the tubes with some denatured alcohol and wiped everything down. And I'm gonna go over here. So the paint that I'm gonna end up using is just some Rust-Oleum protective enamel. Gloss white is what I'm gonna end up going with. Let me get something to open this with. A little excessive. Actually, shake it first because I was shaking the crap out of this the other night when I wasn't even going to be painting. So you want to make sure you clean whatever you're painting, because if you don't, it's going to chip off, it's not going to lay right, etc., etc. So let's see what we got here. We got some gloss white. What I decided to use to paint these, which we've done on Kenrick's car before, like we did his bash bar and things like that with it, and I think he did his whole cage, is these foam brushes. So when you're painting something like this, like a roll cage or tubing, these foam brushes make it very easily. The Rust-Oleum paint lays pretty smooth, so it just makes it into a pretty easy process compared to a brush or spraying it or things like that, because it'd be really difficult for me to have to tape everything off inside the car and spray it. I'm going to start by doing the tray here that the fuel pump and filter sits on. This stuff lays nice because it lays thick, so it just gives you a pretty durable finish at the end of the day.
You ever have the protein farts? Got it right now.
I'm in here to push beer all
Alright.
You got the
So these are the
push
tabs
farts.
probably mounted up over here to mount the...
He's got the push farts,
So-
I got the protein farts.
Jesus Christ.
Totally ruined the video. Restart.
Ah, leave it
Made
in,
these
man.
guys down there
You never know who you're hanging
for
out with.
the strut arms.
He's how he humbles himself. I'm not that
And I'm
good.
just sitting here painting second coat on everything. And once it dries, I'll probably need a finish coat to finish it up.
What up?
Alright guys, so I'm going to wrap it up here. This video was kind of all over the place, but I laid down the paint. We got everything done. The fuel lines are done. All the welding is done. Next steps, which hopefully in the next video we'll show you guys just kind of like a finished product. Dual caliper bracket, firewall, and that's it. Firewall, dual caliper bracket, those are the last two things we need to do before opening moves, and it's some maintenance like an oil change and things like that. But thank you for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time.